The following program is a beer tasting video for Newbarns Brewery's Oat Lager, brought to you by David Blomquist Media.
Millions of people around the world have discovered lager, and more scientific studies are pointing to the benefits that come from drinking vitamin-rich, wholesome lager. There's nothing like the straight-from-nature taste that comes with every pint of fresh brewed lager. And no one knows the goodness of brewing better than the godfather of lager himself, John DeJohn. He's over 30 years of living proof that lager really works. Why is it so popular? What makes oat lager so special? Well, to find out, join us today as John DeJohn and celebrity host and beer expert Johnny Hamilton tell you everything you need to know about the amazing oat lager and benefits of the lager freshness. Let's get ready to brew.
Good evening. I'm your host, Johnny Hamilton, and today we're going to be learning about the Newbarns Oat Lager. For over 200 years, drinkers around the world have enjoyed the cool, refreshing tastes of lager beer. With its bottom fermentation, crisp finish, and tantalizing foam, lager beer has been enjoyed from everyone from sports fans to celebrity gardeners from the 1990s. So, without any further ado, let's get our guest in here, John DeJohn. Let's give him a round of applause, guys. Thanks for having me. So, John, it's been a heck of a year. Why don't you tell the audience at home and our studio audience a little bit about how you guys got started, how the brewery came to be, and of course about this delicious beer we're about to try. Well, it wasn't just me, and I'll try to keep this short. So in 2018, the founders of the brewery, Gordon and Emma, who sadly couldn't be here today, decided that they were going to start their own brewery. They were working at the Colonel at the time, and they recruited some help from myself and my colleague at the time, Fred, who worked at a brewery called Beavertown. So nothing really happened up until last summer when we moved up to Edinburgh, and we found this site where we are today, beautiful site. And we started, we planned to make beers at the start of the year, and then something called a pandemic hit, which kind of threw a bit of a spanner in the works. So we didn't actually get brewing until the end of August, and since then it's been pretty full on making our core range of beers. The original plan and the ethos behind the brewery was to make beers that can be enjoyed in the pub with friends, to stimulate conversation. So all our beers range between 3 and just under 5%, nothing too big, although we did just put out a few specials. But yeah, we couldn't do that, so we had to get this guy. So now that's why you guys at home are able to enjoy the oat lager from the comfort of your kitchen and your living room. But when things get back to normal, hopefully we can enjoy these beers in the pub with friends, and hopefully you guys can come up here, and behind there, we've got a little tap room for you guys. Well, I don't know about you guys, but that was a heck of a story. So John, how about we whip up a batch of that famous oat lager we're all talking about, huh? Thanks, it shouldn't take long. So, oat lager. So, the concept behind the oat lager. It's kind of influenced by quite a few beers that we enjoyed over our time in London. So, it's a lager, and we love to drink lager, but it's also influenced by beers like bitters, so cask bitter, and also by beers like De La Seine's Taras Bulba. So it's got a little bit of esters characters for a lager, and it is dry and bitter, and it's our hoppiest beer in terms of hot side additions. So let's whip up a little batch of oat lager, shall we? So what you're going to need, you're going to need a blender. Any blender will work. And first of all, we take the cereal. So for this beer, it's a blend of, it's called an oat lager, so it's got some oats in there. Malted barley, malted wheat, some oats. We take that, we put it in, it's called the mash tun. And can't be doing no mashing without water. So this is Scottish water. We get this directly from the taps, and that goes in there. Best water in the world, some say. Some say they've clearly not been to Northern Ireland. So this is what's called mashing. So as you can see there, it's ready to be mashed up. And then we take some hops. So these hops are two varieties. We got Admiral and Goldings, and they come from Brookhouse Farms in Herefordshire. Great hops. They're not a sponsor, but if you guys want to sponsor the show, get in touch. And those guys go in as well. So this is like a one pot, you've heard of one pot recipes, this is a one pot brew. And yeah, So that's going to do nothing unless you get yeast. So we got yeast here, lager yeast, and we use this in our Pilsner as well. In our Pilsner, we ferment at 10 degrees or 11 degrees, and we get quite a clean beer. For this, we like to ferment it a little bit warmer at 12 degrees, and it gets a little bit more character that way. So we're getting like, I don't know about you guys at home, you'll taste it in a second, but we get a little red apple, which is a compound called ethyl hexanoate. And that's what kind of reminds us of best bitters and beers like De La Sen's Taras Bulba. So, gotta do the whole process here. Turn this guy on. Might want to cover your ears. And this takes about... Let's take the whole thing up and give it a little shake there. You see that at home? So it's got the consistency of a porridge. And the whole process shouldn't take anywhere more than 7 hours. So one take. And that is it. Simple as that. That's how we make the oat lager. We take a little glass here, get you a beer. That's why you came here. Can't be having you standing around empty-handed. So I like to do this. I like to get a little bit of that foam, get all the goodness, because foam is important. Let me put that down and let me know what you think of that. It's delicious. One question though, how did you get it so wet? Oh yeah, the water. So, hopefully at this time, you guys at home are enjoying one of these oat lagers from Newbarns Brewery. I certainly am enjoying it. So, I hope you get some of those characters that John here was describing. So first of all, we look at it, nice pale beer. So that is just the base malt. So I think he said extra pale malt. So yeah, you'll notice, first of all, that it's got a really nice mouthfeel. So that's those oats, which are providing that kind of smoothness. The smoothness just slides on down the throat. Then after that, I'm getting those esters. I'm getting those red apple character that John mentioned over there. And yeah, that comes from the yeast apparently. So that warm fermentation, we didn't give it a little touch there, but yeah, it was pretty warm. So yeah, and then after that, I'm getting bitterness. So I'm getting, doesn't taste much like a lager to me. It's got the drinkability of a lager, but that bitterness is reminding me of cask beer, cask bitter, down the pub with your friends. I mean, I've never tried this beer. He keeps talking about the De La Sen beer, but after trying this, I'm probably gonna go out and get myself one of those. Just a really interesting lager. Not very different to most lagers that you will try, but definitely a lager. It drinks like a lager. I don't know about you guys, but I'm gonna go finish this. And just wanna say thanks to you guys at home for watching. Thanks to John, of course, for his time. And sincerely, to all of our audience out there in the studio, at home, on the internet, thank you. And John, have you got a few words for the audience at home? Well, thanks for having me. You've been a great host, I must say. And yeah, thank you for everyone at home for listening and watching. And I hope you guys, I personally can't wait to get off set and have one of these myself. But good night.